morning.
Good morning.
Whew! A lot of back-end production happening on Daily Dose this morning. Within seconds. It's amazing what professionals we are, Dr. Mary.
Oh, yeah.
Cool, calm, and collected.
I'm going back to bed.
Oh, happy Monday. Let me just say this because I see that Sandy is watching. If you donated to the Arts Partnership last week, let me cross my purposes here and say thank you for your support. And if you did and have not yet gotten your keychain, let me know. I'm happy to bring it to you, find a way to get it for you. They're super cute. Sandy, maybe you can chime in if you agree. If you don't agree, then just pretend you're too busy to comment. But we do really appreciate the support. Fundraisers are a tricky thing, so thank you for that. Dr. Mary, sorry, I got distracted. You know, it's the first Monday of the month, and so my arts leaders are on behind us.
That's kind of weird.
It is weird. They start the conversation without me, so it just threw me for a second.
I do hope you're on mute.
I am on mute. Otherwise, I believe that they would all be talking to me. Let me do this, though, because they aren't. There we go. Okay. So what are we talking about today, Dr. Mary?
Which one were we going to do?
The phrase, no true Scotsman.
No true Scotsman.
Which is not a phrase that I knew, but you did.
I did.
Can you talk a little bit about the history of it or the use of it?
I don't really know the history of it, but the actual, the basic premise of it is, it's...
Oh, while you're thinking, thanks, Sandy.
In American terms, it's kind of like a double dare or a double dare you. It's trying to one-up each other to try...
Oh,
okay. And it's almost like, come on, get up and do this. Mm-hmm. Or get one for the Gipper. So it is, kind of. Because if
Way to be Hollywood and politics. Good
God,
job.
yes, hold on.
And sports. That's a tough thing to do.
We're here all week.
Anyway.
But the basic premise is, you know, you've got two Scotsmen, and one of them's wearing a tie the other one doesn't like. And he says, well, oh my God, no true Scotsman will wear that tie. Or no Scotsman will wear that tie. And he goes, what the hell are you talking about? So, you know, to one-upman, if the guy's not wearing his sporran straight or something, he'll say, no true Scotsman would wear his sporran like that. So you kind of...
What's a sporran?
It's on a kilt. It's the front bit. It's kind of a bag.
Okay.
It's it's the pocket.
Yeah.
Because
they don't have pockets.
Most of the people who actually try wearing kilts around this place, they have pockets, and I'm sure anyone who's actually been or ever been or have anything to do with Scotland will go, that's not a kilt. I know that. Don't yell at me. I'm doing my best
for being a non-Scotsman.
Dr.
Mary really upholds the Scottishness.
Because I know some fantastic Scottish people, and I lived there for 2 years. So.
And I am Scottish.
And if you're thinking maybe he didn't live in Scotland, yes, I lived in Glasgow, so I'm reliably told that. That's
also, no Americans thinking that because none of us have that whole funny deal that you have.
Anyway, so it's kind of so no true Scotsman would wear his sporran like that, and it's kind of the one up to be better than each other, and you can chime in now.
So we read an article from Medium talking about how addicts or addicts in recovery might start to do that kind of comparison to either their own experience or what they know to be true. So let me just give you an example from the article, and I'll link to the article too. But if we were to find out that, well, let's go back. Let's use Lana Whiting. So Lana was our guest a number of weeks ago. Back in 2020, Lana was our guest. Lana did not go to AA. Lana doesn't call herself an alcoholic. She chose to stop drinking. She read some books. She went online. I forget what the name of the system she went through is, but it's all in the talk, and I will link that. But Lana doesn't call herself an alcoholic the way that you call yourself an alcoholic. So the idea around this no true Scotsman is that then we would say, well, no real alcoholic doesn't go through AA or doesn't call themselves an alcoholic. She's not an alcoholic. Well, how is that for you and me in particular to decide what someone else's experience is, that it's not equal to and therefore not worthy of being defined that way. If Lana chose to stop drinking and was able to do it on her own, didn't have to go to the hospital, didn't have to do everything Maz did, good for her.
Yeah.
End of story.
I would say well done. But it is, I mean, I've never firsthand had this, and this is in the article too, but I've heard people that I know say that this happened to them, is when they say, oh, you know, I haven't, my first year was really easy, or I managed to get off alcohol and not think about it really easily. And then someone said to them, well, then clearly you weren't that bad an alcoholic, because I think about it all the time. I said, well, no, everyone's different.
Right. The same way, you know, some people have math acumen and some people don't. Some people are interested in food for food's sake. Some people are interested in food for existence sake. I mean, we're all different, and so our experience with something is likely to be different. And the reason that this really resonated for me, and I will just make it about me, and you can agree with me or not, is we've had a couple of guests on in the somewhat recent past who have a history of addiction, or a history of struggling to manage their addiction, who are both still drinking periodically. And my instinct is to say, yeah, you're not being truthful with yourself. So it's not quite the same. I'm not casting aspersions on whether or not they're alcoholics. I'm kind of casting aspersions on the fact that they think they're managing it. Well, guess what? That's not for me to judge about them. First of all, I don't have any problem with it, so I have no right to have an opinion around someone else's drinking habits, particularly if I'm not asked about it. And second of all, there are some people who can have been terrible addicts, recovered, and seem to be able to moderate their drinking.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to add to that?
I do agree with a lot of that. I mean, how you deal with your addiction is, if it works, then it's completely up to you. Everything is different. I think I've always made it clear that's the case. Why are there so many different AA meetings? I mean, even in Fargo Moorhead, there's about 100 meetings a week. They're all slightly different. There are ones for those who want to embrace a religion, and there are those for those who don't. I mean, there are some for the same gender, and there are some for, you know, there are ones for professional people where they, you know, there's actually one I know of that's actually for office workers.
Wow.
Just office workers, because apparently what drove a lot of people to alcoholism was actually feeling isolated or over-observed in a cubicle.
Okay.
But that's the thing. I've never worked in an office. I would never understand that part of an addiction. So I wouldn't say, well, no real alcoholic will go to a meeting about people who work in cubicles. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's such human nature to want to categorize people and to be able to say, well, this was my experience, so this is the universal experience. And we just simply know that that's not true. Think about all of the milestones in life. Like, for instance, let's just use a completely unrelated example. How often have you had an opinion about someone who starts dating too soon after their spouse dies? I hear that conversation get brought up all the time. Well, she didn't wait very long. Is there a right amount of time? No. It's different for every person. The grieving process is different. The addiction and recovery process is different. The way that spouses come to it is different.
I want to say it depends on if you've ever read Great Expectations, but there you go.
I don't recommend it. Anyway.
It's not what we hoped.
Anyway, I think that there is just something really freeing about remembering this phrase, no true Scotsman, because about the time you want to say, well, that isn't going to work for them because You don't know that.
No, it's the work you put in yourself to deal with whether or not you want to. What works for you is fine. I mean, why judge that?
Right. Absolutely.
I mean, I've told people, and I even thought it was dumb myself. I make our bed every day. I've talked about this a lot. I've actually met. There's some guys I go to the Saturday men's meeting, who have actually said to me, you know what? I listened to you say that, and I thought that was ridiculous. And then one day I tried it, and he said, I just feel more comfortable getting into a bed that's made at night, when I don't have to make it to get into it. So I think I sleep better. I said, yeah, it's weird, isn't it? He said, absolutely. But it doesn't work for everyone. There are probably
Right.
still people out there that think, oh, God, man, you're a weirdo. But for me, I make it in the morning. I thought, right, I've already accomplished one thing. The next thing is going to be easy.
Yes. So I just want to wrap up with this story because on Friday, someone came to pick up a keychain, and who has seen anybody? So I'm seeing all these people I haven't seen for a year. And I asked her how she was, and she told me that things aren't going very well in some aspect of her life with a person in her life. And as she was describing what was going on with the person, my first thought was, boy, this has a lot of similarities to how I was thinking about Maz towards the end of his addiction. And so I said to her, I don't want to be the person who makes every problem, who equates every problem with alcoholism, but do you feel like this person is drinking a lot? And she said, when I started to tell you this, I wondered if you would ask me that. And she said, this person is not. So great. There are other reasons that people become reclusive, that people become isolated, that people become mean, that people become, not who they've been. That was my experience with you. That was our experience. And so I asked it just as an entry point in case she was thinking yes. And as soon as she said no, okay, that took care of it then. Then what she needs to figure out with this person is something different.
Yeah.
So it's I
very.
think we do better when we don't need everybody to have the exact same experience that we've had.
I think it's a problem with us as a race of beings. It's in us to help, no matter how begrudgingly. We do help each other. If someone's missing, a lot of people go and find them, or at least people think about doing it. At least think about it. It's kind of almost a tenet of human nature. But part of that is then you think that you know the answer to stuff because you've dealt with something similar. So then your opinion is right, and that is a very easy line to cross where you actually cease to be of any use whatsoever.
Yes. Yes.
Then you just become judgy.
Yeah. And everyone knows that judgy is sort of fun from the place of judgment, but it's not particularly useful, and it's certainly no fun to be on the other end of it. So no true Scotsman. Just keep the thought in mind, and about the time you're going to share with someone that your experience must be exactly as their experience, ergo you know the answer to their problem, it's likely not true. Let people be who they are. You know what? If somebody tells you that they've stopped drinking and now they can manage it, and you know for a fact that they cannot, you still don't need to say anything. Because here's what I can promise you from the person who knew for a fact what was and was not real and was determined to enlighten the drinker that he was drinking too much. Good luck. The drinker, the addict, could give two hoots what you think, and you are not going to fix them. Only they are going to fix themselves.
Said drinker needs, and this is something we all get taught, you have to remember to listen. You're lying to yourself. I mean, that's a symptom of the disease, no matter what you're addicted to. Your first thing out of your mouth is going to be a lie that's going to say something on the realm of, I don't have a problem, which is the lie.
But you have to figure out how to fix that for yourself. I'm just here to promise you, I don't believe that those of us in the spouse, parent, child position can often can have much success telling someone else. So let it go.
Yeah.
And now that I've said that, maybe you have had success with that. And if you have,
Awesome.
that makes me thrilled for you.
That makes
because
us all happy.
it's a super frustrating position to be in. So there is no hard and fast rule. That is the long and the short of it. Have a great Monday.
good.
Oh, tomorrow. So every Tuesday in May, we are going to do summer non-alcoholic drinks. And we're starting with one tomorrow. I'm incredibly excited about, as are you.
You're going to do the ingredients again. So
I am going to post the
Excellent.
ingredients early this afternoon so that you can gather them if you'd like to and make it with us. So we'll be up in the kitchen tomorrow morning at 8:30. See you tomorrow.
See you then.
Bye.
Bye.